In the world today. She has all the traits of the early steamers, the nice counter stern, the big round paddle boxes and lay timber decks. Interesting enough, for 1866 the Adelaide was all Australian made. That was back in the good old days when we were a self-sufficient country, and she is the opposite end of the river trade, one of the last designs to be used on the river. A boat like the Pevensey was the true workhorse of the inland river system, 120 bales of wool on board, so a barge with another 1,000 on. The modern equivalent to that is about 23 semi-trailer loads. Now to have a look at the wharf here, and if you can imagine, in 1870 this river actually lapped the underside of the wharf and put 3 foot of water into the main street of town. It's a bit of an understanding why it's built so high. Only a fifth of what originally stood. Most of it was cut up and loaded into railway wagons during the Second World War. It ended up in Melbourne as firewood. At the top end of the wharf there you'll see the Alexander Arbuthnot. She was on the river, built in an era when other boats are meeting their demise and coming towards the end of their working days. It was an odd time to build yourself a boat. The sawmill at Kundruk though still needed a little steamer that could log the likes of the Gunbow Creek. The other boats that you see past her there, like the Britannia, Turulura right up the back there, these are modern renditions of a paddle steamer. You generally build them on a steel or aluminium hull these days. These sort of boats are owned by people that like something a little more interesting than a floating shed with an outboard motor on the back. Here on the lower deck, if you like a cup of tea or a coffee, a cool drink, a beer, glass of wine or a souvenir of your cruise on the Canberra. As I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, do come and ask. That's what this is all about. And last the old boats you'll see up here, we've got the Hero. She was built at Echuca in 1874. Same builder as the Adelaide, so very similar looking boat. The Hero was originally a hawking steamer. The hawking steamer was a mobile store that carried everything on board that you could buy in town, things like hats, saddles, haberdashery, candles, flour, razor blades. Anything you could buy in town, the boat would rock up the store. Station. Since the early 1980s, any boat on the Murray fitted with a toilet, they've had to have holding facilities. This is where we come and empty them out. We do this in an effort to keep Adelaide's water drinkable, or some resemblance of it. It's pretty good down there now. They're using it by the litre instead of the slice. Further around there we've got the Moama Wharf. This one was a bicentennial project. The original Moama Wharf used to stand a couple hundred metres upstream. It wasn't a trading wharf, it was built for clearing customs duties. Prior to so-called federation in 1901, there was no free trade between any of the colonies. They all worked like different countries, much the same as they've done the last few years.
I think we did. I reckon that's it. The river was like up. Is that the one where we had the table out front? No, that was in Gambia. Yeah. I'll just buy coffee next door to the house again. I don't know the one we were just dropped off at like 6. No one's there. And she's like, the girls need to come down and take it back. Can't come up for 1 week. Yeah. So if I book for 2 weeks, I'm playing my band there. I only work for a day. I'll do my work. Year before I did, I went to Michelle. Oh yeah. I can bring an extra screen down, but I don't have to have all my screen. Oh, that's
Oldest places on the river here. Part of the original settlement of Maiden's Ferry, later on becoming known as Moama. Maiden's Ferry was named after James Maiden. He had a punt crossing up around the next bend. He was taking advantage of cattle that were being driven down the long paddock into the goldfields of Ballarat and Bendigo. They needed a safe way to cross the river when it was in flood. He built cattle yards, a hotel, and became quite a wealthy man out of all his exploits. However, he died in 1869 a pauper. His town goes on today though. The name Moama comes from the local Aboriginal dialect, both Echuca and Moama, and they're actually corruptions of Aboriginal. Echuca or Echuca means the meeting of the water. The town's located on a peninsula of land that's bordered by the Murray around the outside, the Golden River upstream and the Campaspe River on the downstream side. Maiden's Inn Caravan Park. You can see on top of the bend in front of us here, it's one of the larger parks in the local area, part of the township of Moama. We'll head up around the next bend here and turn around and make our way back down the hill. If we keep heading upstream, we can travel as far as Yarrawonga on a little boat like the Canberra here. It's the head of navigation today as there's a weir across the Murray with no lock chamber in it. Beyond Yarrawonga is Albury, 300 miles from Echuca as far as the early steamers would travel. Beyond that is the Pilot up in the Snowy Mountains where the Murray begins. Downstream you can still go all the way to the sea, 1,066 mile, through 13 different locks, through the barrages at Goolwa, out into the Southern Ocean at Encounter Bay. The local Aboriginal people call this river Dungala. It has different names up and down depending on the dialect in terms of an Aboriginal name, but Dungala is the local name for it. The first European name it received was the Hume when it was crossed up at Albury by Hume and Hobble in 1824. By January of 1830, the river had been rediscovered by the explorer Captain Charles Sturt on his whaleboat journey down the Murrumbidgee. He named it the Murray after Sir George Murray, the colonial secretary of the day. The Murray drains a seventh of the country, the bottom bit of Queensland, the Victoria and New South Wales tributaries this side of the divide. They even redirect a fair portion of the Snowy River underneath the mountains and back into this river system as well. Peculiar to the Murray, it has its own flag. There are a couple of different versions of it. It was reputed to be first flown on the Echuca barge in 1853. Thought that the blue stripes represented the Murray and its major tributaries. The white stars the colonies prior to Federation. St George's Cross through white backgrounds, the flag of England, and the Union Jack for the British Empire.
There you go, that's it, that's the Murray's flag. That one. The horn goes, toot toot, we're turning, letting all the other boats on the river know. Letting all the boats on the river know that he's turning. Hey Mitch, have we stayed there? Mitchell, have we stayed here? Have you stayed here? Probably.
Heading back downstream now.
Yeah, we're going to go this way now. Wait a minute. Yeah, he was taking a photo. They're racing. How many are there? Oh look, a water park. At our camping, no, that's a different camping, but like ours. And they're fishing. These people are fishing, trying to catch fish. But look at the duckies.
They range from introduced fish like European carp, weather loaches, goldfish, redfin, native fish like silver perch, yellow belly, the catfish, and of course the Murray cod. In the early days, Murray cod were reputedly caught from this river up to 180 pound in weight. Pretty big sort of a fish. The biggest cod that was ever pulled out of the river at Echuca though, they couldn't weigh them. They didn't have a set of scales around the town big enough to do the job. To give you a bit of an idea though, this cod had gravel rash on its belly, sunburn on its back. In addition to fish in the river, there's also yabbies, shrimps, crayfish, mussels, two varieties of turtle, platypus and water rats.
I've caught yellow belly. I've caught a... I've got to go back. Oh yeah, look at that. That's called Troppo. Oh, is it a crocodile on there? Yeah. Or a dinosaur? Dinosaur. Oh, we'd like that house, wouldn't we? Yeah, they are cool houses.
I want to take a photo.
Oh, well, Mum's got the camera over there. But it is.
I want to take a photo.
Momo. You want to take a photo? Photo. Photo. Oh, come here. Oh. Oh. Two. for a holiday. We've got the bar at the top, they've got everything.
Echuca. Echuca, like Moama, was founded on the same principle, the need to cross the river.
You want to take a photo?
Henry Hopwood, the founder of Echuca, was a little bit more sophisticated. He owned a couple of punts. He built himself a floating pontoon bridge. 1857 he opened up the Bridge Hotel. He continually wrote to Governor Latrobe suggesting his crossing place was a great place for a township in Victoria. Aided by the fact that he owned most of the real estate around town, it was duly noted and Echuca came into being. It became the major river port on the Murray in 1864 when the railway line arrived from Bendigo. On the year the construction of the wharf began. At its busiest days, Echuca was known to have an itinerant population of some 3,000 people. For those 3,000 people, there were 87 hotels, 6 houses of ill repute and 2 churches. And they're priorities right here in Echuca. All the buildings you see behind the wharf here, they're all original. They date back to the paddle steamer era. Echuca is not a recreation like Sovereign Hill or Pioneer Settlement, other places where they demoed all their buildings and they had to recreate them all without survive.
See now, the bridge, how big the holes are. And look up top there, the birdies like to on the bridge. There's some people you can wave to. Oh, they're not looking. But you can wave now, they're not looking.
She was built down at Canberra, South Australia and launched in August of 1913. She is named after our nation's newly formed capital as it happened to be in those days. Canberra was both work and home for David Connor, a commercial fisherman at Boundary Bend. After he passed away, she was sold to the Collins brothers at Mildura. They added the promenade deck upstairs and began working Canberra as a passenger steamer. In 1966, she steamed from Mildura to Echuca, single-handedly beginning the modern trade in paddle steamer tourism. It's now the river Echuca today. She is the only one of these old boats here in town that has worked her entire life. Canberra's never been laid up, burnt, sunk or abandoned. She's never been restored with any government funding or anybody else's money. She's always paid her own way. These are people like yourselves who come for a ride with us on the Canberra that ensure her survival into the future and that she's around for future generations to come and work on the river.
You know what that trip was for? That all the other people know. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise it was going to be there. It's not off the home. Oh. Oh, we got lots of photos. Oh, always.
I need that up.
Do you need to go to the toilet? Oh, no more photos. Oh, okay.
Behind the wharf here you can see the old Evans Brothers sawmill.
Is that the
Built in 1927 and it was operated right up until the mid-1980s. Up until the 1950s they would bring their logs down from the forest using outboard barges. That's the old log grant you can see on the funny angle there. Simply logs laid alongside on the roots of the sawmill to keep them moist. Simply drag them up the slide there. In one end is logs, out the other end is lineal feet, sent all around the world from Echuca. They even find red gum timber in the London Underground today when they do repair works. to have a commercially operated boat like the Canberra here, it has to come out of the water every second year so that the hull can be examined by Roads and Maritime, whatever they're called this
Are we
week.
going to park the boat? He's a good driver, isn't he? Yeah, we'll go back to the casino. Or we'll go for a walk down the old port. You should wait till the ladies up there. Give them away.
I love the history.
All finished now, the boat ride. Was that good? Did you love it? Yeah, you can tell Mum.
Keep it to yourself, enjoy the rest of your stay in Echuca, Moama.
I used to have fun laughing at that stage.
Can I say that the better price of it? The seats, they're very pleasant, quiet people.